Sealed-only journeys are nothing new. You know the gist. I can't buy singles, trade cards, or use ones I already have. Going from 3 structure decks, we'll be building the most competitive deck possible. Along the way, we'll be able to use other structure decks, tins, packs, prizes, to build a deck of diabolical darkness for duelists to compete against. Most duels will be online as our strength grows. We will tackle some safe in-person events. This is Sealed Only, Into Darkness, $40 a week. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to The Lair. This is your honorary Yu-Gi-Oh stepdad, and I'm here to help you take care of those bullies. Just challenge them to a duel. They'll definitely respect you then. Today, we're going to be opening up 10 packs of Secret Slayers. The Golden Boy eludes us, but we have 10 opportunities to pull him. Let's get right into it. First pack of the opening. Alright, all we need is the Golden Boy. Our first card here is Miracle Fertilizer. We got a Rika Fairy, a Autumn Leaves, Quackamiru Overload, and a Primula Rika Fairy. Second pack. Let's see what we get. We got a Lepotite. Another Upstart Goblin. That's pretty cool. A Kanzashi, the Rika Queen. 2 level 6s. Oh, yo, we got another Trap Trick. Wow, this is actually a card that we were looking for. Very, very handy. Can help us tutor out our normal traps from the deck. So, great, great card. This will definitely be going in. And we got another Analyzer. Third pack of the opening. Let's see what we got. We got another Rank 6, a Polynosis, a Rose Lover, another Miracle Fertilizer, and an Eldlich of White Destiny. Oh my god. We basically have like everything to run the Eldlich engine now. All we need is the Golden Lord. We got 7 more opportunities. We'll move on to pack number 4 right away. What do we got? We got another Ill Blood, a Rika Fairy, a Crystal Dragite. We'll get it to focus. Another Galaxy Cyclone. That's not bad. And a Dragite. Alright, can we do it? We're moving on to the 5th pack here. Let's see what we got. We got a Crystal Raptite, a Unizombie, another Miracle Fertilizer, a Doki Doki. Wow, we could like run Earths at this point. And another Eldlich of White Destiny. Man, some good pulls here. Alright, moving on to the rest of the packs. Whew, we got 5 more chances, boys. Can we do it? We got a Princess, another Galaxy Cyclone, a Talia, Crystal Leonite, and a Teardrop, the boss monster of the Rikas. Oh man, I'm getting nervous. Are we going to pull the Golden Boy at all? We have 3 more packs, including this. That's 4 more chances. We get a Rock Bombardment, a Rika Fairy, another Overload. Wow, look at those scratches on there. That's some quality. Autumn Leaves, and a Scarlet Sanguine. Oh my god. This engine is really getting filled out. Absolutely all we need is the Golden Boy. I'm getting nervous. We got 3 more chances here. Are we going to be able to pull it? Like, I don't know. We got a Hellbore. So we can get it to focus. And a 4th Solemn Judgment. That'll just go into the binder. A Rika Fairy, Quackamiru Guardian, and a Guardian of the Golden Land. 2 more packs left. We got 2 opportunities. If we pull the Golden Boy, we can actually play this engine. If we don't, it looks like it will be destined to stay in the binder until we get our other box. Got a Hellbore and a Wall, a Rika Fairy, a Galaxy Cyclone again, and a Rika Glamour. Last pack of Destiny. We are mining for gold here. Likes in the chat for that last pack luck. Nine-Tailed Fox, a Crystal Dragite, a Rose Lover, an Upstart Goblin again, and our last card, an Emancipator's Seeker. Ah, man. What a rough opening. The only thing that we got that we can put into the deck this week is probably going to be our Trap Trick. We could, however, probably put in maybe the Galaxy Cyclones if we so feel, just for back row. I am liking a lot of this rock support that we keep getting, though. Man, 3 Galaxy Cyclones. So I don't know if that's even, potentially viable in our list. Like, maybe we could make some sort of amalgamation with our rock support. The only thing that we really have is maybe the Kawaki Maru Guardian to protect us from hand traps. I don't know how, good I feel about doing that. We have Rock Bombardment to send a rock. That doesn't really do anything. I don't know. You let me know in the chat if there's any use. I do see maybe Uni Zombie coming into play at some point once we get the zombie support. I do kind of like the negates that are in here, but, that's going to be it for the opening. I got 2 more packs left in the box, so next week we'll be opening up those last 2 packs, and hopefully we can get our other box of Secret Slayers in, and we can open the rest, and hopefully we'll pull the Golden Boy, maybe some more of the Eldlich support cards so we can actually get that engine going in the deck, but so far, all we got is Trap Trick. All right, so let's, I'll show you the deck list as it currently stands with this week's pulls, and we'll get into some games with what we got. Hope you enjoy. Match 1 of our EDO Pro games. We're up against some rogue matches today. Unfortunately for our opponent, they are playing Dark Lord. We're just going to set 2. One of these is a Super Poly. They'll activate the Allure to get into some cards. Summon a Dark Lord. We now know what they're playing. End our turn, we're not going to be able to activate anything. Drawing into our aerial, we'll just set it. That way we have some disruption on their turn. They'll pop our Lair of Darkness. We don't care too much about this. We still have a Shadal on field to be able to Super Poly into a Shadal monster if we need to. We'll Lost Wind this card so that they can't keep extending. They'll just pass back to us, and on our turn we'll activate the Lair of Darkness, making the Super Poly a little bit more live. Just in case they go into anything from the extra deck. They'll set an additional card, looks like a Super Poly of their own. We'll summon the Lilith, tributing their monster off the field to get us a Sinister Shadow Games. This is looking pretty good for us. We'll get a token in the end phase off of a lair here. On their turn, they have 4 cards in hand. They just decide to set the trap, so we'll send the Squamata with the Shadow Game, sending the Windy, which will then set the Beast onto our side of the field. We'll also activate the Lilith to get a Necrofusion and give them a token in the process. On our turn, we draw into a second Necrofusion. Look at that. So we'll activate the Beast to draw 2, discard 1, discard this extra Trap Trick. We don't need it. Get into our Winda, and we'll use the Aerial to banish 3 from their graveyard. In the battle phase, they'll use Super Poly against us, going into a Starving Venom, tributing our monsters. However, we get the Lost Wind, and we'll grab this Shadal Fusion back. This also makes our Pot of Avarice live, so we'll shuffle 5 back to draw 2. Got a Judgment and a Lilith. That's looking pretty good. We'll activate the Rebellion to pop their monster. However, we still have a Dark Target in hand, so we can still go into the window. We'll set these 2, pass it back to them. Let's see what they're able to do. They'll summon a Dark Lord, we'll Judgment it, and that'll probably be the end of the game. Game 2 up against Dark Lord. Looks like they are going to be going first. They'll start off with a trade-in to draw 2. They got 2 Super Polys in hand, and so do we. The battle of Super Polys. They'll give us a monster here. Not too bad, not too bad. On our turn, we activate the Shadal Fusion using the monster they gave us to go into a Winda, and then dump the Windy off of the Squamata for the Beast. We'll go into the battle phase and get Super Poly'd ourselves. They'll go into a Muddy Mud Dragon, and we'll Super Poly their monster to send the Beast. Use the Beast to draw a card, and we'll use the Anatilius to get in for 27. Set 3, one of these is another Super Poly. This is definitely a game of Super Polys. They'll normal summon, will activate Shadow Games, and then chain the Trap Trick. That way we still get an additional trap this turn. Send the Windy and also set the Necrofusion. We'll set a Beast off of this Windy and then activate the Necrofusion to go into a Winda. Back on our turn, we'll draw 2 Sinister Shadow Games, flip the Beast to draw 2, discard 1. We're going to discard this dragon to pop what looks like their MST. We'll chain the Super Poly using their monster, go into a Starving Venom, and that's going to be the end of the game. Big Chunguses. Today, it looks like we're up against Dynamist. Unfortunate for our opponent. Dynamist is a pretty interesting deck. They have this card, the Dynamist Howling, which allows them to set scales from the deck. However, it is a trap card. We'll use the Arima to tribute the one they have on field. And draw us a card. We'll use Foolish Burial to send the Squamata Windy and set the Dragon. That way we can return a card on their side of the field when we need to. We'll set the Super Poly and this Trap Trick. Not too bad for our turn. Let's see what they do. I'm not entirely sure what Dynamist is really capable of. They are capable of pen summoning. Wow, I wish I had a Solemn Judgment right there. In the battle phase, we'll go into a Starving Venom. They'll use the Howling to return our monster to the hand, but we'll Trap Trick into a Shadow Games and then chain the Shadow Games to flip our Dragon and send the Windy. However, the Dynamist can actually protect themselves from targeting, which he's going to do here. And he'll crash into our monster, allowing him to get a, looks like the Dynamist Charge, which is probably one of the best cards in the Dynamist deck. Allows you to just keep cycling your scales and keeping your advantage, not really gaining much. On our turn, we're going to flip this Hedgehog to grab a Shadow Fusion. They did summon from the extra deck. They are pen monsters, so we'll be able to get to Apcalone, target their Howling, and then do our 2 chains here. They'll chain the Howling to shuffle this back. However, it's still going to end up being negated. This is pretty good for us. They'll get the charge to return this Patera back to the hand. Normal summoning the Mathman, we'll dump another Mathman to just kind of thin our deck. We'll crash into their monsters and then go into a Construct, using the Construct and the token to go into a Winda. We'll set this Judgment. Hopefully we'll actually be able to Judgment their pen summon. I'm really hoping that would be so solid. Let's see if we're able to do it. They'll pen summon just 2. We'll Judgment that anyways. On their turn, they're going to crash into us, protecting with the Scale effect to then return the Patera back to the hand. On normal summon it, go into a Baguska, hoping to kind of wall up here. On our turn, we have the Super Poly to fuse away their monsters into a Starving Venom. We'll switch into attack. We don't really have anything to defend ourselves with. However, our opponent is on some pretty low life points now. On their turn, they're going to draw into a Dynamist Charge. This is also a really interesting, or Dynamist Rush. This is a pretty interesting card for them as well. They can summon straight from the deck and it is unaffected, which is pretty nice because we have a Lilith on field, so we cannot tribute it with that effect. Using the charge, they'll return the Spinos back to the hand. We'll get in for 1,000 points of damage, use the Lilith effect to set a Trap Trick, get in for another 1,000. They're now on 300 life points. This is getting to be a pretty close game. Let's see what Dynamist can do. They'll rip a Pot of Desires off the top. That's pretty good. We'll Trap Trick into a Necrofusion. That way we can at least get a fusion monster onto our side of the field to kind of protect us. They're going to pen summon 2 Rexes, so we'll use the Necrofusion to go into an Apcalone, negating the charge here. They'll use the effect to protect the targeting, special back the one they returned, and in the battle phase, we'll tribute over their Rex to set a Lost Win from our deck. Our monster can't be destroyed by battle, however, they're just going to use it to shuffle back our other fusion into the extra deck. They'll get 2 tokens because of the tributing. We top deck an Arima. That's pretty tight for us because now we can use the Arima effect to tribute their monster. They'll charge back to hand. We'll just switch into attack position. They only have 300 life points, so when we crash them for 1,000, that's game. Match 2, game 2 up against Dynamist here. Let's see what they're able to do on the draw. They're going to go into a Mistar Boy, using the charge to get back the scale. They'll set both of them, and it looks like they are going to pen summon for 3. Using that, they're going to go into a Nova and then to an Infinity. So they have a negate and the charge on field. That's pretty much all that's threatening, so we'll just set this Hedgehog and Super Poly into a Construct. Using the Construct and the Hedgehog, we'll grab a Beast, that way we can maybe pop a card. We'll use a Squamata to send a Windy, and then the Windy to set a Beast so we can get some draw power. We'll activate the Shadow Fusion. They have an extra deck monster on the field, and we're going to send the Diabolos here. That way, in case once we tribute, we can get it back and have a little bit more of a beefy monster. Using Construct, we'll crash into their monster. However, even though it is protected by being destroyed, we can just simply get over it due to attack points. We'll pass back to the Dynamist player here, activating the Sinister Shadow Games, and flip our Beast here to draw 2, and then the Windy gets ashed. We'll draw 2, discard the Dragon, popping their last back row. Let's see what they're able to do. They'll just end their turn right there, giving it back to us. We're in a pretty advantageous spot here. We'll normal summon the Arima, tribute itself, and then this will tribute the Diabolos in the graveyard, using that to get the Mistar Boy looping out of their hand. They have no cards in hand, and we have game on board. Match 3 looks like we are up against what I'm guessing is Generator. We only see one card in their hand, and using the Terraforming, this confirms it. They'll activate the boss stage, set the 3 back row. We don't know what it is. We do know that this deck does have some pretty good trap cards, so let's see what they're going to be able to do. They'll get the Lopter from deck. We'll just activate this El Shaddoll Fusion to negate their field spell, and we'll Chain Link 2. We'll chain the Super Poly in response to them trying to negate our negates, and we'll go into our Fire Shaddoll monster here, and then using the Dragon, we'll pop the last back row, which they will use to negate our monster. We'll discard this Rush and flip up our Beast to draw to discard 1. It gets ashed, so we're just going to go into main phase 1. Finally, they're going to get a Lopter from deck. Using the Lopter, they'll tribute that into a Har. They now have a negate on field with a 4,000 booty. We'll just crash over the Lopter, and in the end phase, they're going to use the Monstrosity to get 2 from deck, adding and then tributing 2 to banish our fusion monster on their side of the field. They get destroyed in the end phase. They now have 2 boss fights in their hand, so we'll activate the Necrofusion to negate the Har before they get tokens on field. They'll go into attack, swing into our App Clone, but it cannot be destroyed by battle. So we're in a pretty tough spot here. Let's see what we're able to do. Top decking a Lost One. They'll activate this card to allow us to draw. That way they can also trigger the boss stage. This gets us into a Lilith, which is pretty good for us. So let's see what we do. We're going to go into main phase 1, normal summon this Lilith, and try to get rid of some of these tokens. That way they have less fuel to work with for their monsters. When they try to banish our App Clone, we'll chain the Lilith. That way we can still get the App Clone effect to discard this Aerial. Banishing 3 from their graveyard. We know they have the Hela on field to be able to get some from grave. However, they still have a Lopter, so let's see if they're able to grab it. They'll use the Monster Reborn that they top deck to get the Lopter from the graveyard, using that to get a Har from deck. They'll go into a Giant Grinder, into a Pain Gainer, trying to destroy our field, but we'll chain the Lilith to tribute itself, and then Necrofusion into a Window, which cannot be destroyed by card effects, so it survives. The Beast allows us to draw a card. We now have a Lost One set, and we draw into a Super Poly. They'll get a Har off of our draw. We'll Lost One in the end phase. It is now permanently negated, that way that they cannot use the negate effect when they get their tokens. We'll chain the Shadow Games when they use boss stage to send this Shaddoll Fusion. That way we can maybe get it back. We'll Super Poly into the Window. Sending this Window will allow us to actually get the Super Poly back. They'll chain the Lopter in response to get another Hela from deck, and we'll be able to activate the Shaddoll Fusion to go into a Construct. This is pretty good because we'll need the Construct to be able to swing over their monsters. Using the Hedgehog, we're going to gain some more advantage by grabbing a Squamata, and using the Construct, we'll swing over the Hela and just boop into their Pain Gainer for the BM. We'll set the Squamata as a possible interruption. They're going to go into a 7 Sins. Oh no, are they going to activate the effect? They're not. They're just going to swing into our Window, allowing us to get into a Shaddoll Fusion. They do not actually go into a Zeus. I'm pretty surprised by this. We do top deck the Pot of Avarice, so this is looking pretty good for us. They do have this other level 9. I'm actually not even sure what this generator does, but we'll activate this Avarice to shuffle 5 back, draw 2, and we draw into a Super Poly. This is looking pretty good for us. We'll Squamata away this level 9. Shaddoll Fusion into our Window, and then chain the Windy, and then finally the Super Poly again for another Window. That way we can chain this back, and they'll just surrender. We're now on the final game up against Generator here. We're going to start our turn out with a Lair of Darkness Lilith, as it is our only normal summon to get the Eradicator from deck. We're trying to put the Fear of God into this person because we know that they need their spell cards. They're going to start with a Lopter. Fearing this card, they're just going to crash over our token, activate the boss stage to get a Model from deck. This is going to activate a boss quest, or get them a boss quest. They're going to get both of their trap cards, set both of them in the end phase. We'll Trap Trick into the Shadow Games and eat an Ash for our efforts. In the end phase, they will get a token for tributing the Lopter. On our turn, we're going to draw into a Shaddoll Fusion. They'll get a Har from deck and get 2 tokens as well. Now here I should have just activated the Eradicator. However, I wanted to Super Poly their monster away, because we know as long as they are under the Window lock, they are in a pretty tough spot because they cannot get 2 monsters. We'll just swing over their token for some damage and pass back to them. They're going to top a Called by the Grave, crash into our Window. Our Window is going to fetch us the Shaddoll Fusion from the graveyard. They'll normal summon this Lopter, use its effect to get an Ungarda and then use that to banish our Eradicator. However, all of their monsters tribute, so this will trigger the Lair of Darkness, clogging their entire field with tokens from our field spell. They'll also get a diabolical. I'm not sure how to say that monster, not even sure what it does. We use the Beast here to draw 2, discard 1, and we'll get called by on the Hedgehog here, unfortunately. We'll just set this Judgment and pass back to them. Let's see what they do. With the tokens, they're going to link into Arena. I think they have a level 9 in hand, and so I Judgment it. However, they don't, so we just paid half our life points for nothing. In the end phase, they'll use a boss fight, and this will draw us a card, allowing them to trigger their field spell, and they'll get a Heart from deck. On their turn, they're going to get a Hela from their deck to hopefully get one from the graveyard. We'll activate the Shaddoll Fusion, just trying to bait out this Har here, and then we'll Tribute set over our own Beast and set this Lost Wind. In the end phase, we'll get 3 tokens for all the tributing that happened. On their turn, they're going to switch the Har into attack, and we'll Lost Wind it in the damage step. That way they can't swing over the Beast, and then they'll also Chalice our Beast so that we cannot draw 2, discard 1. Oops, unfortunate. On our turn, we are going to top deck a 3rd Lair of Darkness. Lair for days, boys. They'll get a Hela off of their field spell. We'll switch into attack position, crash over it just to do some damage. Not really like gaining too much there. We are in a rough spot because if we cannot get out from underneath this loop that they keep doing, we're not going to be able to do much. We'll give them a token for their tributing efforts, and we top deck into Eradicator. This is looking pretty good. However, they're going to use the Ungarda to banish our field spell so that we cannot use it on their turn. However, we have 2 Lair in our hand. So now when they activate the boss stage to get the Har from deck, they now have a 3,000 attack monster on the field. So we'll activate this Lair of Darkness, hoping to bait it out. They don't, so we will use the Eradicator, wiping all the spells from their hand, winning thus the game. Yet another scrub-demolishing episode of the Secret Slayers Boosters opening show.
What are you doing in my swamp?
But, hey, it's nothing to brag about since we didn't really face a deck too threatening. Aside from that grindy match against Generator, that was pretty cool. We aim to change all of the constraints on us by trying to get into some competitive duels against better opponents. Right now, I've been hopping into EDO Pro out of convenience because of my work constraints. Papa's got to put food on the table, all right. Regardless, we're now 12-2 in our match record and 26-4 in our game record. Our KD looking mighty fresh, boys. We're also out of Secret Slayers for this week until the next box arrives in the mail. However, I do have a box of Rise of the Duelist. Tons of great stuff in this set, like the Dogmatica cards, Triple Tactics Talent, Forbidden Droplets, and of course our chase card, Shaddoll Schism. So give us a like on the video, motivates me to get out of my 60-hour work weeks to make this content, and it's much appreciated. I've also started a Discord group for the show. Specifically, the link will be in the description for you to join Into Dankness if you're interested. It'll help me get some good ideas for the deck, where to go with the openings, coordinate duels against my supporters, and just be a fun place to hang out and see some good old crispy, crunchy, peanut buttery content. Hopefully we'll get some good remote duels out of it. So, you're invited to come try your luck against the old man. Hope to see you there and in the next episode. Bye!